Happy holidays, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode from the EatMe Cooks channel. Today we are making a slowly cooked braised short ribs accompanied by simple mashed potatoes. Let's get right into the video. So the ingredients for this recipe are short ribs, beef broth, Cabernet red wine, carrots, onions, celery, mushrooms, bay leaves, thyme, garlic, parsley, milk, potatoes, and butter. So for the prep work, we will need to dice up our carrots, onions, and celery for our marinade. For some reason, my local grocery just ran out of whole celery, so I had no choice but to buy the pre-cut celery. We will also need to crush our garlic. Before we get started with the recipe, I would first like to briefly discuss the cut of the short ribs we are featuring in today's video. I think typically the more preferred choice of short rib for this recipe would have been a more blocky English cut cubed short rib. However, I was looking at my local grocery store and I noticed the English cut short rib had very little meat to work with and more bone on it. I opted instead for these thinly sliced short ribs typically used for Korean barbecue just because it was only a few dollars more and I had more meat to work with. If your local grocery store does offer boneless English cut short ribs, then by all means you can go for that option. Take your short rib and place that in a marinade container. We will then add our carrots, garlic, onions, celery into the container. Then take your strands of thyme and bay leaf and add that to the container as well. Finally, take a bottle of Cabernet red wine and pour that into your container, just enough to cover everything in there. You don't need to go fancy on the wine selection here. Mix everything together and place them into the fridge to marinate for a minimum of 6 hours or overnight. We can now take your short ribs from the fridge and transfer them onto a paper towel. Pat down your short ribs until they are dry, and then add salt and pepper until the short ribs are nicely seasoned. Get your stove going on high heat for your oven-safe pot. Add a generous amount of olive oil in there and let that heat up. Now take your short ribs and place them into the pot to sear on both sides. Once they are seared, we can place them to the side. We can now also set our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit to preheat. Take your vegetables that were in your marinade and place them into the pot. I also thought mushrooms would go well with the short ribs, so I diced a few of them and added them to the pot as well. Once they cook for a bit, take that red wine from the marinade and add that to your pot as well. Let that come to a boil so that it can reduce a little. Now take 1 quart of beef stock and add that into your pot. Bring that up to a boil to reduce as well. By now your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Take your pot and place that into the oven to cook for 2 hours. With maybe about 30 minutes left until your short ribs are done, you can now prepare your simple mashed potato. Peel your potatoes and dice them into smaller pieces. Place them in your pot of water and wait for them to start boiling. Give them about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. Drain your pot of potatoes and begin mashing your potatoes. Add about a cup of milk into your pot and continue to mash your potatoes. Then add a stick of salted butter and mix that into your pot. Your mashed potatoes are ready and your short ribs are ready. Take out your short ribs from the oven and you are ready to plate. take a generous amount of mashed potatoes and put that on your plate. Now take some of that short rib pieces and place it on top of your plate, followed by some of the vegetables and stew. Now take some diced up parsley and garnish on top for your plate. Enjoy! And there you have it! Braised short ribs with simple mashed potatoes. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to enable notifications so you never miss any future videos we put out. Drop a comment down below if you will be trying this recipe out yourselves. Happy holidays and thank you for tuning into the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe and stay full.
When I've had enough of your beauty.